Whenever we deal with art, many times the titles will change. In this case, there are multiple titles to this piece, as there are for many of these ancient pieces. It's something to keep an eye out for if you're researching them. Make sure that you're looking at an illustration of what the author is talking about within the article or book to make sure you're talking about the same piece. But in this case, we're looking at Woolly Rhinoceros, also known as Rhinoceros, Wounded Man, and Disemboweled Bison, because titles can be very, very long as well. And this is one of the first and few representations of man with a bird mask. And the man with the bird mask is the one laying down in front of our disemboweled bison here. The bird mask may be representative of a shaman, of someone who is a priest of some form, who has a religious identity to him. That may also refer to the bird stalk that we see here, the bird on what appears to be a staff. That may be a stuffed bird put on the staff as one of the elements of this priesthood, this group. And we believe that there are two different hands at play here. The rhinoceros and the bison may actually be unrelated to one another, but we see an inconsistent style between the two. The rhinoceros a little bit softer, not fully developed, not fully drawn. We don't see the legs or any of the underbelly, whereas that bison has more detail to it and seems to go more with the figure sitting in front of it. The 6 dots behind the rhinoceros, we have no idea what those mean. It could be a number, it could be spirits, it could be any number of things. They probably have meaning. You don't generally add things just for fun, or we don't think that they did. But we just don't know what that might refer to. And this may be the first or earliest attempt at a narrative or telling a story. And it leads to a lot of questions. Is this man dead? Obviously, laying back like that is not something we typically do in front of a bison, but maybe he was injured during the fight. Injuries and death during hunting would have been fairly commonplace. How do we know that he's even a man? Well, we know because he's erect. We see this representation of what appears to be a penis, giving us the idea that this is likely a man. And there's a lot of possibilities, but more than likely, let's just focus on the gender here, that this is probably a male figure. And this idea of a narrative so long ago, why is this a problem? Because at the end of the day, we don't like, as humans, to think that our ancient ancestors were capable of the same sort of thought process and ideas that we were, even though these people had the same evolved brain that we do. Our brain has not evolved that much in the last 20,000 years. And so they would have had similar thought patterns. Yes, they wouldn't have had as many inputs as we do, but that doesn't mean that they can't think. And so what you get is this very enigmatic sort of image of what appears to be a story or a narrative describing at least someone dying or injured in a hunt. We're not sure if the rhinoceros is tied to the idea of the bison, and it's possible that both the bison and the man are both laying down, one having killed the other and died in the process, or of that Greek hero's tale where you have a physical defeat and a spiritual victory. And that could well be the representation here, an early form of that. So there are a lot of possibilities, and we will continue that theme, of course, throughout.